tēnei te mea tu kia koutou katoa e te iwi kia ora rā. Ko Puoro Jerome tēnei, greetings to one and all. My name is Puoro Jerome. I've come to a very special place today and so I just wanted to mihi to our maunga he Rongokaupo, tēnei te mihi, and to my other side here, kororua pehu tēnei te miha tū ki a koe te ko matua tamana, tēnā kōrua, and to this beautiful part of Aotearoa, this ngahere. Here we're joined by the manga whero in the back, if you can hear that. Beautiful awa, beautiful river. And then also we're joined by all the beautiful sounds of ngārara, all the insects and the manu. There's the korimoko singing and some tui. And the sun's sort of just going down behind Rongokaupo, and it's a beautiful part of our Aotearoa. So, and the reason why I've come here today is to share my story with you of how I began my journey with Taonga Puoro, and also my story of when I was encouraged to begin my journey with Taonga Puoro. And it started with a time that was very dark. For me, it was a very heavy time. It was a time of great mamai, a lot of pain, a lot of internal pain, and I had grown up most of my life in this rohe, in this area, where I'm sitting right now, and very rural, spending a lot of time in the awa, at the river, spending a lot of time in the ngahere, walking the whenua, walking the land, and very, very quite sort of like sheltered life, I suppose, in terms of I didn't have much experience in cities. Grew up on a farm, grew up on the whenua of my tūpuna, of my ancestors, and very, very quiet existence. And so when I was in my early 20s, I decided that I might try and live overseas for some time, and so I travelled to Australia and went to give it a shot in Melbourne. And being a young fella and being from the rural, and I sort of liken it to a tree being kind of like uprooted and then moved to a completely different whenua, different land, and I didn't really handle that very well, and things got quite bad for me, and eventually I attempted to take my own life. I was very suicidal, and I still don't really know what happened to this day. I just was not in a good space, and so I came home. I came back to my whānau, and back to my whenua, back to my family, and back to my homelands. And of course, when I got back, I was still feeling in a lot of pain, and so I went into the mental health system. And what was quite surprising to me is that in about, I'd say 8 minutes or so, I was diagnosed with bipolar. So of course, in being young, I went along with what the psychiatrist had to say, and his diagnosis of me, and his 8-minute diagnosis. And and before you knew it, I was heading to the chemist to pick up a prescription of quite heavy drugs that were antidepressants. And so I was on antidepressants before I knew it. And I can't really remember too much about that time, except I felt like a zombie. I was tired all the time. I didn't have any energy. I didn't have the willpower to get up and go to work or anything like that. I was quite, just like a zombie. No energy, no get up and go, no nothing. So, because I went into the mental health system, I was, one part of it I was really lucky to be exposed to was a man who was my whanaunga, a distant relation, and a healer, and he worked within the system, in the mental health system, and was assigned to me as my caseworker. So the reason why I've returned to this area is because after over 20 years I've come back to this place where a caseworker would bring me to begin my healing journey and to be activated into my mahi, or my my work as a Taonga Puoro practitioner. At that time I thought he was going to counsel me. I thought he was going to save all my solve all my problems, I should say. But instead he organised to meet me about 10 k's from where we are now, and he said, make sure you got some good shoes on and make sure you got a warm jacket. We're going to go for a walk. And so away we went, walking into the ngahere, into this beautiful forest here. And at first I thought, we're going to go for a walk and maybe he's going to talk to me, but he said very little. Mostly he was just loving, he was just caring and very gentle, and to me seemed very non-judgmental, and so he said, follow me, boy, we're going to go for a walk into this ngahere, into this beautiful forest. So away we go, and we're walking some more, we're not talking about anything. Sort of after about an hour of walking, I start getting a little bit pukuriri, a bit angry, a bit frustrated as why aren't we doing this counselling? Why isn't this fella helping me to solve my problems? And of course, the more that we walk, the more more tired I'm getting and sweaty, and so we came to the spot where I'm sitting right now, and he said, okay, boy, I want you to sit in here with your back against this rako, this tree here, this beautiful tree, this totara, and your job is to listen. And so that was me. I listened to what he had to say, just sit there back against the tree and listen. And then he said to me, I'm going to leave you here for some time and I'm going to keep walking. And you just sit here and listen. Ata whakarongo. And just listening. And so that was me. That's what I did. I sat there. At first I was very pissed off. I was very annoyed, a little bit angry, and then he left. He said, I'll be back. Wait here until I get back. So I sat there with my back against the totara tree and just spend a little bit of time in the quiet, listening. And once I calmed down and once I sort of relaxed a bit, I started to hear the beautiful sounds of the ngahere of the forest. And so I might just pause for a little bit here, and just so you can hear this beautiful space, this beautiful waihi. So that was me. I listened to the sound of the trees. I listened to the sound of the birds, manu. Of course, not too far away from here is a road, so you can hear the cars going past. But mostly it's just beautiful sounds of nature. And we did this every Wednesday. He'd come and pick me up, and that's what we do every Wednesday from about 10 o'clock. And we'd walk into the bush, and then we wouldn't get home until the evening. So it was a full day walking, and then sitting at this spot, and then just listening. And in that time, I began my healing journey through the sounds of this beautiful pūtaiao, this beautiful nature. And then in this quiet and in this space, I was able to remember things from my childhood around Taonga Puoro, some kōrero, and particularly from my grandmother, who would talk of these beautiful instruments that we know as Taonga Puoro. Around about the same time, I was listened to the beautiful waiata of Matuahirini, Melbourne, and that whole rōpū, that whole group of people that had revived our Taonga Puoro. And what grew within me was a real hunger for the sound of nature. And so that's how I began my journey with Taonga Puoro, right here in this spot, in this ngahere, under the watchful eye of Kororua Pehu and this beautiful maunga here, Rongokaupo, on this beautiful whenua, next to this beautiful awa. And so it's a real honour for me to come back here and spend some time again in this space in this place to acknowledge the awhia and aroha that's provided for me. And of course, not to forget to mention our beautiful whanaunga, Royce Ponga, moi maira e te papa, e te whanaunga, e te rangatira. Ki Hawaii ki nui, Hawaii ki roa, Hawaii ki pā mau mau, e te papa, e te matua, moi maira. So I'd like to finish off by playing my pūtorino. Just to add on to our story, once I sort of became somewhat well, one of the last hui that I had with Royce was another walk into this ngahere, and then I remember he said to me, hey, where's those pills that you got, your antidepressants? How are you going on those? I said, oh, yeah, I'm nearly finished them. And he said, hey, well, pass them to me. And he took them and threw them in the rubbish. Told me, you don't need these anymore. And you know what your rongoa is now, is to come back to these places, the ngahere, the awa, come and spend time here. And so I wanted to share this story with our people, because, my belief, ki oku nei whakaaro, one of the greatest healers for us is to just reconnect with our pūtaiao, reconnect with nature, go back to the ngahere, return to the forest, return to our mountains, return to the river, and just sit in that quiet and in that aroha of our atua. After this hui with this last hui with Matua Royce, I actually took a journey up to Tūrangi, which isn't too far from here, and I just happened to meet a karaua up there who was coming towards the end of his life, and he carved 3 pūtō rino. And I had just started on my Puoro journey. I was at the time trying to make pūtō rino myself and wasn't very successful, but was enjoying the learning. And he gifted this very pūtō rino to me here. So just like you and me, we all have personal names, so do our Taonga Puoro. And so this pūtō rino that you would have heard at the start of this kōrero is called Tūrangi, and that's in reference to that beautiful karaua who carved this pūtō rino and gifted it to me right at the beginning of my journey. I remember seeing some of my whanaunga here in Ohakune and in Raitahi, and I was really excited, and I bought this pūtō rino back, and I couldn't play it, and I was trying my best to get a sound out of it. I was showing a lot of our people here, and I think it was quite funny for a lot of them seeing me trying to play this beautiful pūtō rino, but could barely get a sound. So once again, it's beautiful to return here and after such a long time, and to come here and be able to share the sounds of our pūtō rino Tūrangi here. Kei Rongokaupo, kei roro i te tū matata mana a kororua pehu. Ki tā ngahere nei, ki ngā ngārara, ki ngā kaitiaki, ki ngā manu, ki ngā tūpua, tēnei te mihi a tihei mauri ora. And lastly, I'd like to finish off by playing here in this space, playing our pūtō rino.